Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair Powell, would you say the economic crisis caused by the pandemic is over?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear exactly what you said. I apologize.
That's okay. Would you say the economic crisis caused by the pandemic is over?
No, I would not.
Okay. How long do you think it'll take before we know?
I think, well, before we know, I think we'll know a lot in the next 4 to 6 months about vaccines. But the real issue, though, is what are going to be the effects of people whose jobs may have changed or gone away. It's really the post-pandemic economy is going to be different. And we're going to learn a lot about that in the second half of next year. And I think those people are going to need help, some of them.
And I think that's, Chair Powell, a very fair answer. We can't know unless we have a crystal ball exactly how the recovery from this is going to proceed. Now, Secretary Mnuchin, who's also here with us today, he apparently disagrees with you. In fact, Secretary Mnuchin is so certain that the economic crisis is over that he wants to ban the Fed from using any more of the $500 billion that Congress set aside in the CARES Act to help the economy. 2 weeks ago, he wrote to you to request that you return the remaining $455 billion because our economy, in his opinion, simply doesn't need it anymore. In response, you, Chair Powell, said that the outlook for the economy is extraordinarily uncertain. The Federal Reserve would prefer that the full suite of emergency facilities established during the pandemic continue to serve their important role as a backstop for our still strained and vulnerable economy. Needless to say, it's highly concerning that the two people tasked with stabilizing our economy do not agree on whether the markets are stable. But it actually doesn't matter what either of you two think, because Secretary Mnuchin simply doesn't have the authority to recall the $455 billion. I'm reading aloud now from Section 4027 of the CARES Act. On or after January 1, 2026, any funds that are remaining shall be transferred to the general fund. In other words, sent back to the Treasury. Secretary Mnuchin, is it currently the year 2026? Yes or no?
First, let me comment. I do believe there's an economic emergency. You're putting words in my mouth that are not correct. Second of all, okay, the answer is that 4027.
The time belongs to the gentle lady.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Mnuchin, would you start by answering my first question, and I will ask you others. Is today the year 2026? Yes or no?
Of course it's not 2026. How ridiculous to ask me that question and waste our time.
Well, Secretary Mnuchin, I think it's ridiculous that you're play acting to be a lawyer when you have no
actually, I have plenty of lawyers at the Department of Treasury who advise me, so I'm more than happy to follow up with Chair Waters and explain all the legal provisions and the ranking member. So more than happy to make that access.
Secretary Mnuchin, are you in fact a lawyer?
I do not have a legal degree. I have lawyers that report to me.
Thank you. Chair Powell, are you in fact a lawyer?
I am a former lawyer, a recovering lawyer.
You have a legal degree, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, Secretary Mnuchin, you're trying to tell Chairman Powell to send over any remaining funds right now, and you're claiming, falsely in my opinion, that is what the law says. And you've gotten into a disagreement with someone who's actually a lawyer.
Are you a lawyer?
And you're not listening to Congress, which actually wrote the law about what it says.
Okay, actually, I wrote the law with Congress for what it's worth. And by the way, it's not $450 billion he's returning. I think it's approximately $175 billion.
Reclaiming my time, there was no question there. Secretary Mnuchin, the CARES Act already says in in Section 4027, it says that you have to stop making any new investments in Fed lending programs year end. It doesn't say that the Fed programs must stop making loans or purchases. You are making a decision that does not align with the statute or congressional intent.
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Stile, is recognized for 5 minutes.